15 seconds. Good evening, everybody from Jeddah. This is an amazing scenery, an amazing circuit. We are here for the Formula 4 Saudi Arabia Championship, and we are heading to the final circuit of the season. We will have a triple header, a triple event here in Jeddah. So in the famous and beautiful scenery of the Formula 1 race that has been just visiting here a couple of weeks ago. And here you see by night what it looks like to be in the Jeddah Corniche circuit. It is near the bay of the city of Jeddah, and it has been built around the streets of this area along the coast. So while you drive, you're actually driving really closely to the coast. By night you cannot really see it, but when we had the track walk, it was really fantastic. We started with the daylight in the middle of the track. In turn 13 we had a sunset on the sea, and finally we finished the lap in the dark. It's a very long lap, 6 kilometers. Here you see all the drivers ready for free practice. We will have a free practice followed by the qualifying. So all the drivers, they have to find their own driving lines and performances in this final practice. Yesterday we had a long night of testing. Sounds weird to say we had a night of testing, but this is what we had. Basically we had 6 hours running between 8 to 2 in the night, and there was 6 hour running of testing with all the drivers able to explore this new circuit and learn about all the corners that we have here in Jeddah. And then today, as I said, we have the 30-minute free practice, and after only 15 minutes we will start straight for qualifying. Now in 1 minute the circuit will go green. Just for you to know, we could have some cars going out straight on green, some other cars maybe waiting a little bit, as I know that some strategies between drivers are going to happen. So we will have a practice followed by the qualifying with a 15 minutes break in between, and no refueling will be allowed. So basically once the practice starts, you can go out and do as many laps as you want for the practice, but you have to basically remember the fuel that you want to have for the qualifying. In the qualifying, then we will see later, some of the drivers will go for a single new tire run, while some other drivers will actually have the two double set of tires. We have seen Federico Al Rifai with the number 10. The leader of the championship is the first car to go out of track. This is turn 4, and is going into the first sector of the circuit. As you can see, this is considered as a street track, as it's built in the streets. As you can see, the runoff area in some places is very wide. In some other places, like here, you see that the drivers has to go near the walls and stay very close to the walls. But even if, as I said, it's considered a street track, it's also it became sort of a permanent circuit. Now the circulation of the road car is not permitted anymore. So at the moment, this place, this circuit, it became fully part of the racetrack and the Corniche circuit. We also have Saud Mohamed Al Saud that is new with us this weekend. is a local driver from Saudi Arabia, and he's been racing in Formula 4 UAE in the past, and also in Porsche GT3. So he's an experienced driver. It's just the first time with us in our championship, so he will definitely need to take a bit of time to learn this car, and again, after not running this generation 2 Formula 4 yet. So he told me he's been driven the generation 1 Formula 4 car, but definitely it has been a while ago, and the generation 2 is the first time for him. This is the last corner that goes into the main straight. In this circuit, actually, we have very long straight, so these cars, they go up to 6th several times over the lap, which is the 6 kilometers long, and it's one of those places that is very tricky and quite long as well, because even if the medium, the average speed is very high, but still it's a long lap. So more or less we will see laps over the 2 minutes. We are targeting more or less 2 minute 7, maybe 2 minute 6 for the qualifying. For the practice, we will see probably 2 minute 8 to minute 9, just to give you more or less an idea and a rough indication. That depends also on the level of tires wear that you have on these cars. Some of the drivers will have better tires with not so much running. Some others, they will have more worn tires, but for practices we won't see anybody using the new tires. That we will definitely see for qualifying, when they will have to find the best performance possible.
It's good to join you again here for the free practice. What have you been telling the good ladies and gentlemen back home?
I mean, I was explaining how incredible is this scenery we have here on the Corniche circuit in Saudi Arabia, in Jeddah, and definitely that all the drivers are enjoying a lot this circuit that is difficult, tricky, really fast. That is a street course, but now, as we see, it's basically not anymore allowed the traffic, so it's like with all the facility and the safety of a permanent circuit. So definitely everybody's very, very excited to be here.
Yeah, I think everybody's been looking forward to this race the whole season. Of course, some of our drivers from F1 Academy were here just a few weeks ago, notably Amna and Hamda Al-Kabaisi, I believe. Laura Villas, was she there as well?
No, Laura, she doesn't race for the moment F1 Academy. And definitely yesterday, with the 6-hour running of practice, everybody had a good opportunity to fill the gap to the Al-Kubaisi sisters that they race here, like you say. But now everybody had quite a lot of running on this track, and it was really good to have yesterday night's test. So now all the drivers, they have all the references for the racing lines and the braking performances, and we have been watching telemetry data videos and giving all the drivers all the information they need to have the best qualifying they can.
And did it all shake out as you thought it would, Luca, on the track walk, or were there some different lines that the drivers found in that test session that you guys went through during the debrief?
So definitely we're right here with a lot of preparation and indication, as we could analyze all the videos from the F1 Academy from a few weeks ago. So the conditions were very similar, and as we all know, the chassis and the tires and the engine is basically the same in the two categories. The difference is just a bit of the aerodynamics. So we could have really good references in terms of data analysis, videos especially, and all the gear ratios that we had to use corner by corner, but in a fast circuit like this with very long straights are the small details that make a difference, because every time you have a slightly this year we see a slight lockup for the home hero Faisal, as he really literally lives 5 minutes away from here, and all these fine little details when you have long straights in a circuit like this, they make a lot of difference. For example, all this section here is twisty, but you have long flat out sections where definitely you have to maximize the exit of the corners in this circuit.
So it's all about the exit, yeah? You don't have to worry about carrying speed through the corner? I mean, with these long, straight corners, I thought it'd all be about mid-corner speed.
Yeah, so it's a very fine line. So the aim is to have the highest top speed before braking, because this is what we say is maximizing the exit. And sometimes to do that, to accomplish that, you have to go on power as early as possible. But like you said, what you said is actually correct, because in a circuit like this that we have many corners that are quite fast, like 4-gear corner, it's not just about going early on power, but it's also about carrying the speed, because if you have an high minimum speed, then you also have more momentum, and when you go back on power, the momentum helps you to reach the top speed as early as possible. So it's a trade in between carrying the speed into the corner, but still being able to apply the throttle at the right time, which is as early as possible.
So coming down the main straight now, I believe, Faisal Al-Kabani in the silver number 7, as Luca Filippi just mentioned. Hometown hero here for Faisal Al-Kabani, and we've seen him up on the top step of the podium in the second race last time out in Qatar. Do you think he's going to be able to pull that off again here in Jeddah?
I mean, Faisal definitely is a shot, as also yesterday night he was really quick, especially as he was on the new tire quite early in the night, so when he was out on new tires he was the quickest for quite a bit, or at least one of the quickest. So I think he's really pumped up, he really wants to. You see, he's pushing hard, he's really motivated. And Faisal is one of those guys that for this weekend he really wants to pull the best result possible.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I can imagine what he's feeling here in front of his home crowd here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Coming around the corner now, Luca, that looks like 13 to me. Am I right there? Beautiful corner. I was down there for the track branding just a few hours ago. It's a lot steeper on the inside, a lot more camber, negative camber, I believe, coming down into that corner. What's the line through there? And is that Solomon Zanfari just ahead of the Silver Bullet?
Yeah, so we really ask the drivers to be aware of the traffic behind and to look into the mirrors, as it's a very fast circuit. So if you are in a slow lap, the delta speed in between fast guys compared to drivers that are still warming up, it's really big. So unfortunately Zanfari wasn't quite aware of Faisal, that then at the end managed to overtake him, but definitely he lost a lot of time in this lap, which was actually, really promising. But this is just practice, so it's important to just find a feeling. Regarding turn 13 is one of those corners where the banking of the corner really helps you to carry the speed. So we brake there extremely late. The braking is just before the 50 meters mark, so arriving in 6th, which is really fast, and then downshifting only 2 gears, the guys, they take that corner in 4th, and because of the banking they carry a lot of speed, and still the power is much earlier than you will normally think, because then again the banking of the corner really helps you to keep the rotation going.
Is that, which corner is that you're talking about? 13?
13.
Ah, right, brilliant, okay. So do you think it's an overtaking corner, or is it not quite enough of a breaking point? Or?
You know, we discussed about it, and for sure it's not gonna be easy, as you brake hard initially, but still after that you will release the braking in order to carry quite a bit of speed. As I said, is a 4-gear corner. Potentially you could try to hang on the outside if the guy try and defend, but to do that you really have to carry a lot of speed. It's not gonna be an easy place to overtake. Definitely turn 1, it will be one of the places, and last
Turn
corner
1.
as well.
Turn 1 at the moment, Federico Alrafai in the white number 10 car, driving of course for the UAE. Federico is a serious championship contender here, so this is an important session for him to get his mind right going into qualifying. How did you used to handle free practice back in the day, Luca? Did you have a strategy, or did you just do 1 or 2 laps to warm yourself up? Or
I always believed that starting on the right foot the race weekend is crucial. Also mentally, you really want to feel strong, and you want to shake off the pressure of the shoulders, and so for me it was always one of the keys to try and be as fast as possible in practice as well. That was giving me, you know, the confidence and the motivation for the rest of the weekend. So and the same is for these drivers. They all know the circuit, they all are in a similar condition with the used tires for this session. So trying and be at the top of the timesheet with 16 minutes to go, it will be, I think, the key for all of them to start the qualifying with a right mindset.
yes, indeed, and a little bit of a different qualifying procedure here this weekend, Luca, because it's a one-day race. We're going from free practice right into qualifying with just a 15-minute break between the 2 sessions. Of course, with all the cars coming in at the end of the free practice session, that means realistically 10 minutes between the cars are all stopped outside of their boxes and before the light goes green at the end of the pit lane. So that'll mean the drivers just stay in the cars, have a quick word with the engineers, maybe look at the tablet to go over timing and that kind of thing, and then they're back out on track.
Yeah, so everybody's really excited about the format we have for today. Has you know, it's basically, like you say, more of a longer session where you start the first part, which is the practice, and then after a short break you go straight into qualifying. So you are already warm, both yourself, the car and everything. So I'm sure it's one of those things that it's positive for a driver, because it's a bit less stressing compared to having all the time that normally divides the practice from the qualifying.
Do you think it'll help some of the younger drivers who've been, it's feedback from some of our younger drivers that they're having a bit of trouble going straight out and hitting the pace.
Yes.
They need a few laps to warm up. So does this actually maybe help some of these young drivers who need a little bit of a warm up before they can set their best lap time, or do you think it won't have a difference?
Yeah, absolutely. Also because they will be warm from many aspects. First of all, visually, as we drove yesterday, but again, once you are in the car, you have to sort of reset yourself with your visual markers on the track, your visual targets, but also your body, your muscle are warmed up, which you can do a warm-up physically with your trainer or with the championship trainer before the session, but it's not the same as you are actually driving the car, and you don't have just your body warm up, but also, you know, you basically have your body has memory for the corners, and so you get into the rhythm. But and then there is a technical aspect, which is the car itself that is warm, And so when you mount the new tire for the qualifying, then the car is already warm, with the brakes already warm, with everything, and it makes the whole procedure of the warm-up for the qualifying smoother and easier. And I would say for this aspect, it's interesting to us and potentially a little less difficult for the rookies.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, is that something you've pointed out to the guys already, or are they already on top of that kind of thing, these future F1 drivers?
So we didn't discuss all that. It's just that they are generally happy with the format, as they know they can be more ready for the qualifying just by having the right warm-up in the practice. And basically all we see now, with now 12 minutes to go, is to prepare yourself for the important part of this beginning of the evening, which is the qualifying session.
So qualifying, let's talk about qualifying. And when you start to talk about qualifying, you got to talk about tires. This, as we mentioned, is a little bit of a different schedule this weekend. So does that change things up with the qualifying strategy, or do they still go on to 2 sets in qualifying?
So this circuit is really smooth in terms of asphalt, and also running in the night, like we did in Qatar, but it's a very smooth circuit and not so abrasive. And also the corners we have, they don't have so much long ranges, so it's the overheating of the tire is not a problem for this race. In fact, we don't see graining or particular issues on the tires. For this point of view, you can keep improving your lap times even after a slightly longer run compared to what we've seen previously. So we have most of the drivers using only 1 set for the qualifying, as they believe there is more time into themselves driving and finding the limit of the car, of the track, rather than just swapping tires and then being forced to make a second warm-up with the second set. So we will see the difference, but for my understanding, we have the 2 Alcobaisi sisters and Suleiman Zamfari that are basically going for double stint of new tires, but more or less all the rest are going for the single set with a slightly longer run, maybe just having 1 cool lap in the middle of the stint and then try again and push on the tires.
What kind of lap times are we to be expecting here? I think we should be around the 204s down in qualifying.
I think the potential of the car is to go there, but as the circuit is there is some rubber down from yesterday, but we don't have other categories racing with us. We will be a little slower. I will believe around the 206. It's hard to say exactly, but I think we will unlock more or less the 95% of the potential just because of the circuit. It's definitely more rubber down than yesterday, but probably not in the 100% condition of the grip. For example, if you compare it to the Formula 1 weekend, that you have F1, F2 and other categories.
They're pulling up everybody else behind them, basically.
It's just that the smoother the surface it is, then the gap in between basically the stones of the asphalt is more narrow, so it takes longer for the rubber to fill those gaps and to rubber up. So the evolution is a little slower in a circuit like this. So the more cars you have, the more categories, the more new tires, the faster it will become.
So does that mean that as we keep going, because we've got 3 races here in the next 2 weeks, as we keep going with testing on the 31st, and the next race on the 1st, and then the final race on the 6th, are we going to see lap times tumbling down as we build up rubber on track, or because we're not expecting much rain here in Jeddah?
Yeah, exactly. We don't expect rain. Yeah, for sure. So for sure, the circuit will improve. But when you have a break of, in our case, how many days? We have 3 days in between the races. Then, yeah. So basically, you have the evolution of the circuit. Then, basically, after 3 days, the evolution doesn't go all the way back, but it's, let's say, halfway, and then potentially for the third event we could have a slightly better overall grip, I presume. This is why, for example, all the Formula 1 teams, they have all the data of it's called the micro roughness and macro roughness of the asphalt, and depending on those parameters they have a better understanding on the camber to use on the track, or tire pressures, or a procedure of warm-up. And this circuit on the Formula 1 calendar is the second lightest in terms of roughness of asphalt. The lightest is Monte Carlo, is Monaco, and this is the second, basically smoother.
So is that a feature of street circuits then? Is a standard circuit like Qatar or Kuwait Motor Town, where we were just visited within the last 2 months, are they designed specifically to be a little bit rougher so that they can rubber up faster?
It's a good question. I don't know the exact philosophy behind it, but generally speaking, also Singapore is a smoother circuit in terms of roughness compared to a regular circuit. So definitely all the asphalt that are homologated by FIA, they have certain guidelines, but potentially the asphalt that also has a usage for, let's say, road type is generally smoother compared to what we see, for example, like you say, in Qatar. Yes.
Well, talking about asphalt, talking about tires, makes me think about race 1. Who do you think's going to be on pole position, Luca Felipe?
This is very hard to predict. I have to say that yesterday Andre looked very strong in the night testing. He was motivated. Here we have Andre, and he's also now our quickest drivers in the practice. He has done only 4 laps, and he's in P1. He's the guy that did the least alongside Kutskov. So this gives him, confidence. Just went out, go fastest, and even in his lap he also improved sector 1. And talking to him, he was really, really pumped up and motivated.
Well, talking to him right now, that's his father. Flew in this morning, I believe. Could see them in the pit lane together, having a quick word before he goes back out. Is that him out of the car now for free practice? 4 minutes left on the clock. It probably is. What has he done? 4 laps only, 3 laps only. Yeah. Okay. So he's about ready to go for qualifying then.
Exactly. This is because, like I mentioned before, you shouldn't do too many laps, as then the rest of the laps you need to use for the qualifying. And so more or less everybody did a similar amount of lap in between. Most did 7. Andre with only 4 is the guy that did the least. So he's also the guy that felt more confident yesterday, and I believe that he definitely has a shot.
He definitely does. He had a fantastic. Well, he started off fantastic in qualifying just 2 weeks ago in the sales circuit in Qatar. Unfortunate end to that session for him when he spun out with under 2 minutes left on the board, I believe, and didn't get to rejoin. and of course that meant he dropped down to 5th from pole, but he was still up on the podium in the first race, Luca.
Yeah.
And that's what's so impressive about Andre, at least for me, is that whatever you do to him, he just shrugs it off, and he somehow, some way puts himself, if not on the top spot of the podium, somewhere on the podium, and that's why he's just accumulating points like nobody's business.
Yeah, absolutely. And he knows that if he wants to win the championship and he has to close the gap to Federico Arrifai, he has to put him under pressure in this qualifying, and he needs to be ahead of him for both race 1 and 3. As for this weekend, with only one reverse grid, you have to do a good qualifying in order to have 3 fast laps, where the first counts for the grid of race 1 and the third best lap for the grid of race 3. And those 2 races counting with the full points is where these drivers, they have to make the most out of the weekend. So he really started on the right foot, but to be honest, the top 6 we see on the board, but also the top 11, they are in a very tight gap. But I would say top 6, they all have honestly a real shot for the pole position. Plus the 2 Alcobazi, if they can make work their strategy of 2 runs for the 2 sets of tires, who knows, especially if there is a bigger evolution of the circuit towards the end of the session, then that could be you know, the jolly you can have in the pocket.
Could indeed.
The joker. Yeah.
Could indeed. So, did you actually give us an answer for who's on pole position, or did you strategically negotiate your way out of that question?
If I have to say one name, it could be Andre, just because I've seen him very motivated and
very, very motivated.
Yeah. But as I said, all top 6, they have a clear opportunity.
You know, I've got a funny feeling that Oscar Wirtz is going to put it up there. I don't know why I say it, but as soon as I asked you the question, his name popped into my mind. And then I thought Faisal or Omar as well, but they're not quite there yet. They really are making leaps and bounds, and I think they're going to be I'm sure they're going to be on the podium for the race 2, and I think they're going to be top 5. At least one of them is going to be in the top 5 this coming qualifying. I think Omar might just hedge out Faisal this weekend, and I imagine it's going to reverse for the next weekend. That's my bet, Luca. Where are you going?
You know, this is also the nice thing, that this time they have 3 shots in the same circuit where they can build on themselves, on their driving and getting more confident around the circuit. So today is the first shot, but then we have 2 more coming. As I see it, Omar, so far, he loved the circuit, because talking to him, he really likes it, but he hasn't still found the right rhythm and flow around the track. He will eventually, but he didn't quite found it yet.
Yeah, but I'm not worried. I mean, that's what's special about young Omar. I think you could drop him down in the middle of the desert and he'd find water and build a house and have 20-acre farm within the year, you know.
I could see that happening, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
On screen now, ladies and gentlemen, that's Kirill Kutskov, CIK World Champion. He's just out of the car for the end of free practice. Where is he on the board? P3 with a 209.268. 5 laps gone, so it looks like he's going to be aiming to run long in qualifying in just a few minutes' time.
Absolutely. Kirill also, he was very confident yesterday. He was third in the testing, and also for him, only having done 5 laps and being P3, it means that he has confidence around the track. He was able to find his pace in a very short time, and when you see those things, normally they are positive aspects, definitely.
Well, it can only get better and better, and it continues to get better and better here at the Aramco Formula 4 Saudi Arabia Championship. Of course, this weekend, the Invest Saudi Gulf free. As always, Luca and I are here for the duration of the weekend, and I believe we've just come to the close of free practice. You can see Faisal Al-Gabani, the silver number 7, the silver bullet, just pulling into his pit boxes. All cars will remain outside the garages, I believe, as we have just 10 minutes until the start of qualifying. You can see Aizat Zafik there, his number 1 mechanic, taking control of the steering wheel and parking him into the box. Just behind we have Arnold on screen as well, a fellow number 1 mechanic. Both individuals taking care of Faisal this weekend, and on screen you can see as well Dave Benbro, his engineer, having a quick word down into the cockpit. You can barely hear a thing, Luca, with the helmet on, can you? But what do you imagine Dave saying to young Faisal at the moment?
So definitely is important for Faisal to find the confidence around the track, and I'm sure that Dave, the engineer, was trying to understand if there is any changes he has to make before the qualifying session.
Quick run through the classifications now, ladies and gentlemen. We have Andrei Petrovic in the red, number 49, with 2:08.835. That's the best time here in free practice. And of course, Suleiman Zanfari is just behind him, and Kirill Kutskov round out the top 3. Federico Al-Rafai in the white number 10 car is just ahead of Oscar Wirtz in the white number 11 car. These two young gentlemen, Team White, have been battling with each other the entire season, while Sagar Al-Mashraj and Amna Al-Kubaisi come just behind them in positions 6 and 7, while Hamda Al-Kubaisi, Saud Al-Saud and Faisal Al-Kabani round out the top 10. A good first showing from Saud Al-Saud here at the Jeddah circuit for his first outing in a Formula car, I believe. Omar Walid Alduran takes P11 ahead of Laura Villas in the dark blue number 55, while Jabbar Al-Thani and Abdulaziz Abu Zanada round out the rest of the grid. Quick word from race control, several laps deleted, but I'm sure all the drivers are already aware of that. So from me, Aaron Thompson, and from Luca, thank you very much for watching, everybody, and we'll be back briefly with qualifying. Hello and welcome back to the 2024 Aramco Formula 4 Saudi Arabia Championship, of course certified by the FIA. As always, my name is Aaron Thompson and I'm coming to you live now with Luca Felipe, the fantastic Luca Felipe, our driver coach here this weekend.
Welcome everybody. As you see, the scenery here in Jeddah is amazing. What it was a street course that it became sort of a permanent race, and it's amazing to be here racing by night. All the drivers are really excited to be in the Jeddah Corniche circuit.
Yes, indeed. The Invest Saudi Gulf Prix this weekend from the, well, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, the date has just jumped out of my mind, but I believe it's the 27th to the 28th of March here. We're coming into the last half of the championship. 3 events left, including this event, so that means there's 2 more coming in just a few days' time. As you can see, all the cars are lined up in pit lane now, and we're just about to go out. 1 minute until green flag. Luca Felipe, we've just come off of free practice. What's your advice for the young ladies and gentlemen about to enter the track?
So it's potentially most of the guys now will go out of the green, as you never know in qualifying with everybody pushing to the limit. If you could have yellow flag, we obviously hope not. But yeah, I definitely think that all the guys are going out of the new tires, and they will have a couple of laps for warming up, and then we will start seeing the screen going green and purple for best sectors coming up lap by lap.
Talking about best sectors lap by lap, here's Andrej Petrovic in the red number 49 driving for Serbia. You can see that he's just having a final word with his mechanic there, the fan keeping him cool under the Jeddah lights, as you can hear the engines going on, which I believe means green light. And with the green light, let's have a quick look at what's to expect from the circuit.
Here it is, fantastic circuit in Jeddah. It's 6 kilometers long with the start and going into turn 1 and 2 with a heavy braking and overtaking opportunity that goes into this section of 4 and 5, a little narrow, but then it's all flat out until 8, and then 8 and 9 are a little lift to a very fast section again up to 6th gear, and then the banked 13th corner with quite a bit of banking to another very quick section. And here in 16 you are braking and turning at the same time, 4-gear corner, and again flat out with a very long section up to turn 22. Then we goes into a very fast 4-gear left-hander with a flat out section again into the very last corner, where we will see some overtaking maneuvers and taking a slipstream into the 3rd gear corners into the final straight line. 6.2 kilometers, fantastic circuit here in Jeddah Corniche.
An absolutely fantastic circuit, 27 corners, and it goes on and on and on. So ladies and gentlemen, you won't be starved for action tonight, because there's going to be a lot to come very, very soon. The white number 10 here on screen, ladies and gentlemen, Federico Alrafai. If you want to see action, this is the car to look out for. Fantastic young driver from the UAE, of course, natively Italian, but from living in the UAE, flying a UAE flag, competed in F4 UAE last year as well, I believe, and at the top of the leaderboards at the moment. But on track first, or I should say on track now, Andrej Petrovic in the red 49, straight onto new tires for Andrej, and well, that's just a testament to his confidence in himself, his unshakable level of skill. And I'm very excited to see what he's going to do. Is it going to be straight out onto a fast lap, or is there a warm-up procedure for these tires, Luca?
I think, and here we have Faisal behind him. It was his strategy for Faisal to try and follow Andrej from the very beginning. So the procedure is to go out, and you have an out lap, and then you have a full warm-up lap, so it's in 2 in total, and then you can start pushing. But the very first push lap normally is not at 100% already. So from what it is, the physical fourth lap is where you have the maximum peak of the tire, and it will be a little consistent for a couple of laps, and then we will see most of the drivers having one cool down laps. That is just to keep the temperature and the pressures again within the window, and then they will push again for another 2 laps. So it's quite stable, the tire for this circuit, and this is why we could see drivers able to improve at the very end of the session.
Is that a skill in unto itself, Luca, the ability to do a cool down lap rather than just pushing and pushing and pushing? I mean, imagine for a driver, especially a young driver, the idea of being told, oh, hang on, no, just go around slowly. It's not something they want to hear.
Yeah, it's true, but we show them graph and data that is very specific on the reason why you should. As if you see basically the lap time and the data of the pressure live when the car runs, then after normally the second flying lap of these cars, then the target pressure, it goes a little bit over the limit and the target. So if you do a cool lap, you bring it back to the target pressure, and then you can push again. So when they see the reason, and is a graph, is written in data, in numbers, and in lap times, they could understanding better compared to just an explanation without also the evidences which we have. So now they really understand, but we also have to teach them how to do it, because when you cool down the car and the tires, sometimes you also cool down yourself, but that can be too much. So when you push again, the car is ready, but you are maybe not anymore in your window, in your rhythm anymore. So when you do a cool lap, you have to make sure that when you push again, you are straight on top of it and ready to push.
And is there a strategy to the cool down lap? I mean, do you do things differently? Do you come off the racing line? Do you try and, I mean, I know when it's a wet session or a semi-wet session, you might try and find puddles to keep the tires from degrading. Is there something like that with the cool down lap, where you take a different line to try and cool things down? Get out of the slipstream, for example, to get more air in the ducts or something?
Yeah, the main thing is be less aggressive on the brakes. So automatically arriving less fast in the braking zone, so use a little the brake. We ask them not to go off the line, as off the line you may find a little bit of dust or dirt or marbles, which is it's the parts of the rubber that comes off the rubbers after the abrasion, and when the tires are hot, you pick up all these little marbles of rubber, which is not good for the tires. So we ask them to stay on the line, but my advice is always, especially for the younger driver, to cool down a lot in the first sector, and then in the second sector start to get back slowly into the rhythm, and in the third sector of the cool down, I ask them to already be fully pushing, so when they start the lap, they are already mentally ready to start again. Because believe me, it's really hard when you are pushing hard, very focused, and then suddenly you just relax for 2 minutes for a cool lap, and then it's very difficult to be switched on again and be ready to push and be committed after a long straight like this one, and then braking as late, as hard as possible into into turn one. That's very difficult from the mental point of view, to be committed to be braking at the very last meter and pushing, trusting that the car can give you the best grip. So if you felt that in the closing sector of the cool lap and you know the grip is there, then you're more motivated, more ready.
Well, Luca, I've been racking my brain trying to figure out something else we can tell the ladies and gentlemen about tires that we haven't told them already 10 times. And you just mentioned marbles. What are the marbles?
So basically, these tires, they don't really have the wear like our normal tire that basically they just have the natural wear. But what we have is the abrasion of the rubber which is on the tread of the tire on the asphalt, and when the temperature becomes a little bit over the window, the target, which is a very, very specific term which is called working range. The working range is the window where the tire temperature is optimal. If you go a little over, so you overheat the tire a little bit, then the heat makes the rubber a little bit too soft, and the abrasion of the tire on the asphalt makes a little, it's called marble, I don't know if there is another part of the thread of the rubber that goes from the inside to the outside, and once it's on the outside and you lean on the tire with the lateral G, then the marbles and this little part of rubber just gets ripped off the tire and moves away of the line. So if you go away of the line, you may collect this part of rubber on the hot surface of your tires.
Well, okay then. I've let Luca talk long enough. Let's get back to the action. 4 laps into qualifying, and we have a 2:08.463 from Solomon Zanfari. That looks to me like people are starting to put the foot down. We're expecting 2:06s in this qualifying, and Hamda Al-Khabaisi is just behind the orange number 52 with a 2:08.718. But ladies and gentlemen, Andrej Petrovic has just gone fastest in Sector 1 with a 4:46.206. We're expecting big things from Andre, and in just a few moments we'll see what happens in sectors 2 and 3. But we have to give some recognition to Hamda Al-Khabaisi in the purple number 8. That's her pit board, ladies and gentlemen, and that's her mechanic as well there. Denny Nuke had a lot of experience here with this seasoned hand who's joining us this season and is doing a fantastic job for the young Khabaisi, the Emirati driver, having a good showing in this season again and again and again. She was up on the top step in Kuwait, and I hope to see her back up there very, very soon indeed. But back to the track, we have Andrej Petrovic now in the red, number 49. Andrej, driving for Serbia, has been atop the standings, the championship standings, and been knocked off and up again. And I don't know where he is at the moment, but I know where he intends to be come the end of these next 3 events. That's on the top step of the podium, the red number 49 coming down the main straight now. Some of his rivals in sight, the white number 11 of Oscar Wurz, the Austrian, I should say, having a fantastic start to the season at the trophy event in Bahrain, but not managing to replicate that success so far in Kuwait or Qatar. He, of course, is rebuilding his confidence after a unlucky first outing at the Kuwait Motor Town, and is really getting back up to scratch, as we can see. And as I mentioned in free practice, I believe he's actually going to be on the top step of the podium. Well, there isn't a podium for qualifying, perhaps there should be, but in any case, I believe Oscar's going to be up there on pole position in 18 minutes time. Luca Philippe has the red number 49 in his bet, so we'll see very soon who comes out on top. Just ahead of them on track, I believe there's another white car. That might well be Federico Al-Rafai, who is one of the championship contenders alongside Solomon Zanfari. And really, we're going to have a lot of action here very soon. These 3 following each other through this section of the track quite closely indeed. How big of a factor here is the tow, Luca?
Oh yeah, it could be potentially very positive for Andrej, is following the both white car, so he can benefit for both of them slipstream, and he's improving himself in sector 1, so he's done already a really fast lap time, 7.6, which is already very competitive at Same level as yesterday night practice after 6 hours, but here after only few laps he's already doing the same lap time, so it's very positive. And now he's trying to keep improving. It's not only important to keep improving, but also to do 3 laps at more or less the same pace. That I think is the crucial thing of this qualifying, as the third lap, third best lap is what it counts for race 3 of today.
Third lap for race 3, second lap for race 2, first lap for race 1. That's the way it goes here this weekend. And really, you've got to be pushing the whole way through. You got to set 3 fastest laps if you're going to qualify at the front of the grid for the full points races. That's race 1 and race 3. On track now, you can see Hamda and Amda Al-Khabaisi in the purple cars coming into the pit lane. The young sisters seem to do everything together. I was watching them doing their practice starts at the end of the pit lane just last night, and they're really quite in sync. Team Purple is, and of course they're being led by Brandon, one of our most experienced engineers, an F2 engineer, had a fantastic run in F2, and well, he's doing a great job here as well. As you can see, the mechanics now bringing them into the pit lane. Denny Nuke and Ryan, of course, joining him in just a moment's time. Number 8 and number 88, ladies and gentlemen. On screen, on the timing board, we have Hamda Al-Khabaisi in the purple number 8 car doing a 2:08.396. That's about 0.8 of a second off pole. She's in third position at the moment. Andrej Petrovic is burning rubber around the track now, though, with a 2:07.630, and we expect that to fall down into a 2:06 or a 2:05 very shortly indeed. Not enough rubber on track yet, ladies and gentlemen, to see a 2:04, as of course we're the feature event here this weekend and there's no support categories. But that's not going to stop Andrej Petrovic and Kirill Kutskov as well, who's up there with the 2:08.561, second fastest man on track at the moment. Andrej on new tires though, and I'm not sure the state of Kirill Kutskov's tires. He is a very calm young man, and he may well have decided to change tires in the middle of qualifying. Do you happen to know his strategy, Luca?
Yes, so both Saker in P2, Saker and Kirill, they have a similar strategy to Andrej, with one set of tires only, and Saker being able to improve himself to a very good lap time, to 8.0, while I expect Federico now also improving. Federico and Oscar Wurth with the white cars, yesterday they were both being able to lap under the 2:08, so I expect them to improve their lap time significantly in the rest of the session.
Improve it significantly, Luca. Improve it significantly how? Where do they need to go? What time do they need to find? Is there a line that they need to be taken? Are they braking later? What do they need to do?
So I believe that in this circuit, with so many corners, more than 20, to do a perfect lap is almost impossible. So the closer the lap is to perfection, the better. So it's not just about finding the grip, finding the gap, finding the toe if you have one, but doing everything right in the same lap. It's so tricky, because you might have one lap that you did the first section better, the other lap that you did the last section better, but doing all together, it's very tricky. So right now in this session we have 13 minutes to go. I think we can see maybe a little bit of improvement, but I don't believe we will go down too much in terms of lap time. It's interesting to see how much the evolution of the circuit will be. It's really hard to predict, but with Andrej being so quick, I don't believe we won't go so much faster than this. I think 2:07.6 is already a very good lap time. Andrej can improve himself. He is now improving sector 1. We believe that after the cool down lap, you have an opportunity to improve your lap time. This is what we have seen yesterday, and this is what all the drivers are trying to do. So Andrej, after the cool down, is now on a very good lap time. This is if he can put it together, it will be a really fast lap. And now also Federico Rifai and Oscar Wurz are also both of them in a cool down lap.
Little bit of a block there from Federico Al-Rifai. He had moved over, but is that going to hurt the time there for the light blue number 23 of Kirill Kutskov?
207.4, Andrei, so he did improve a couple of tenths. That is really positive for his charge to pole position, but also to make sure he has 2 similar lap time, or 3 now. He now has 3 similar lap times in the 207. That can be the crucial part of the weekend, because we know qualifying how important it is. Now, what I believe that we have to understand if is a good strategy from Zanfari and the 2 Alcubezi sisters to go for the second set or not. I think this is what we have to see, if they can find extra grip and extra time with using the second set or not.
They already changed when they came into the pit lane just now, right? That was the purpose of that maneuver. So we're going to see very soon. If they were on used tires with that time they've already set, that's quite impressive indeed. And hopefully Honda will be able to get herself up into P3 on the news. But P3 at the moment, Federico Al-Rifai just ahead of Kirill Kutskov. Man of the session so far, though, maybe Sagar Al-Mashaj. P2 must have had a good coach there, Luca.
Sagar, we know, is very talented driver, and we've been looking at the data. He was pushing a little bit too much the entries, but there was one specific corner where he was incredibly fast and he was doing a really perfect job. So we told him to focus on that driving style and try to reproduce that in the other part of the circuit. So he's definitely doing a good job, and Oscar Wurz also is improving his lap to 2.707.
He is within 3/10 of pole. Who mentioned something about an Austrian and a pole position?
Yeah. That's definitely challenging, because it's getting closer and closer. Oscar Wurz is now 3/10 off, but Oscar, we know, is a guy that when he finds the confidence, then he can really improve himself lap by lap. So it's positive for him that in this part of the session, the next lap will be another potentially good lap for the tire, because it's after the cool he was able to improve, but then the second again the second lap after the cool can also be fast.
A little bit squirrely on the entry there for Federico Al-Rifai coming into turn 13. The line there, you stay out on the outside and cut back in, or is there a special line because of the negative camber on that corner?
So because of the camber, you can go in quite early, like Federico did. He just had a little bit of locking, maybe trying to brake as hard as possible. But yeah, it's one of those corners where if you have a little bit of lockup, but you can still have a good exit, you don't really lose a lot of time. It's just a slight little mistake.
A little blip in an otherwise perfect lap. Let's have a look at the leaderboard and see where everybody is situated at the moment. Andrej Petrovic is maintaining his pole position with a 2:07.434, while Oscar Wurz in P2 with a 2:07.738. And just as I say that, Kirill Kutskov cuts across the line with 2:07.701, just ahead of Oscar Wurz, now P3, while Sagar Al-Mashaj takes P4 ahead of Suleiman Zanfari. 7 minutes and 45 seconds left on the clock, and there's a lot of action still to come. As Luca already said, we've seen that drivers do go faster after their cooled down lap, and that's exactly what we expect to happen shortly. And they may even go faster again if they get in a third push lap after the cool down process, which I believe you said was 2 laps, Luca.
Watch out, Zanfari.
Suleiman Zanfari coming across the line now.
Improve this lap, but now he did his best lap, so I think his tires are now ready, and he now can push on his second set of new tires. So let's see if he can pull any extra performance, like also the two Alcobaisi sisters that they found a little bit of traffic there, but they are now pushing, and Amda is she just did her best sector 1.
Personal best sector 1, 46.375. The purple number 8 car just behind her. Less than 0.5 of a second separate the two drivers as Amna Alcobaisi in the purple number 8 gets the toe around this circuit. They're coming down the back half of the circuit now, ladies and gentlemen, and in just a moment we'll have them on screen. There they are coming through. You can see there's a little bit of traffic ahead of them. That might be Abdulaziz Abu Zanada in the green car. Of course, two green cars on track this weekend. Saud Al Saud joining us from Porsche. A lot of experience at the young gentleman's fingertips, but his first time in single seaters, if I'm not mistaken. And his teammate Abdulaziz Abu Zanada, who is on the championship poster this weekend, and a beautiful poster it is. But his goal is to be back up on the rookie podium once again, as he was in Qatar. As they come across the start-finish line now, Abdulaziz Abu Zanada in the green, number 99, crossing first ahead of the 8. The number 8, the purple number 8, and the purple number 88. Was that a push lap, Luca, or was that a warm-up lap?
So in the meantime, we have Amda Alcobaisi improving a little bit, and they are all very close, especially from position 2 up to position 7, only in 3/4 of a second, with, you know, in a 2 minutes lap is a very, very little gap. So anything can happen in, you know, in this position. Let's see Suleiman Zanfari now. He had a cool down lap, so he will push a lot in the next coming lap. So with 5 minutes to go, ooh, now Amda getting very close to the car in front, and definitely he lost a little bit of ground in this lap.
Kirill Kutskov there, ladies and gentlemen, the light blue number 23 car. Kirill, of course, up in P2 at the moment. Into the pits he goes. Is he going to go out again for one last lap? 5 minutes, or just about 5 minutes left on the board. They could if they choose to do so. Or do you think they'll decide that's it for qualifying?
Yeah, that's it for Andrei Petrovic, Kirill Kutskov, Oscar Burt, and Federico Rifai. So of the top 4, they are done with their qualifying. So who has an opportunity is still Sakira Musherji and Suleiman Zanfari, with the two Alcobaisi sisters still pushing on their second set of tires.
Yes, indeed. The light blue number 5, the sister car to Kirill Kutskov in P5 at the moment, is coming around the track. I believe I saw him just behind us on the opposite side of the track as he comes into the final few corners of the circuit. Just ahead of him, the Alcobaisi sisters 8 and 88 doing their final push lap, I believe. Omal Walid Al-Rani crosses the line and does a 2:08.983. That's good enough for P10 as Amna and her sister Amna. Hamda doesn't manage to improve this time around, but Amna sets her personal best to 2:08.201. Very nice indeed, which is just 0.09 of a second off of the sister purple car, the number 8. So a good showing from these two young drivers. On screen at the moment, though, Oscar Wirtz. I had Oscar pipped for pole position, but I may have given him the commentator's curse. He was up in P2, less than 0.3 of a second off pole, but Luca Felipe, the wiser, more seasoned driver, of course, predicted Andrei Petrovic would be on the top step from qualifying, and indeed he is so far. But Suleiman Zanfari, ladies and gentlemen, in the orange number 52 car, is still on track and just did a personal best at 46.226, and well, it's not over till it's over, and there is several more corners for Suleiman. No, there's not at all. There's you're crossing the start-finish line just now, and he manages to do a 2:08.106, just 5/6 of a second off of pole position, but not quite good enough to get into the top 5. Did he cross the start-finish line with time on the clock? Yes, he did. He can probably get another 2 laps in if he chooses to do so. Do you think he's going to go for that?
Yeah, he can do another couple of laps, and he did improve in the first sector, but unfortunately he has lost in the final part of the lap, and he wasn't quite able to match his previous lap time. So the gap is really close, because with a jump of 1 or 2 tenths of a second from P6, he could gain 2, 3, 4 places, which is very meaningful for his championship fight, as in now is in P3 in the championship, and definitely is aiming to try and fight for the championship, and it's crucial for him. But now Hamda improved their position in P4. Hamda,
fantastic. The purple number 8 doing a 2:07.797, just 3 tenths of a second off of pole position. I believe that's the top 5 now within 3 tenths. She bumps Sagar Al-Mashaj down into P6 and puts Federico Al-Rafai into P5. That's a very interesting top 5 for the first race. On screen now, ladies and gentlemen, we have Abdulaziz Aboujanada in the gorgeous F4 Saudi Arabia suit. Just behind him, his father, and to the left, that's Marcello Pugliese, who you'll all know very, very well from our starting grid interviews. Back into the pit lane, we of course see the pit lane marshal making sure that everything is done as per FIA, while Laura Villas parks her blue number 55 and is helped out of the car. Back to Marcello now. What do you think Marcello is telling Abdulaziz at the moment? Abdulaziz has some time to work on here at his home track, but as you mentioned, it's not to worry, Luca, because he'll have another 2 shots at it in just a few days' time, and that's exactly the purpose of the championship, to give these young drivers as much time as possible on track so that they can learn their racecraft and build themselves up and move on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, absolutely, and being able to race again on the same circuit, he will definitely improve, and he can keep improving, because now his gap is getting closer and closer, smaller and smaller, race by race, and everybody is improving, but it's good to see that the field is getting more compacted every time we go on track. Suleiman Zanfari he's had a very good first sector in the previous lap, but again he was very consistent in his lap time, but not able to improve. His last lap was 2:08.4. Hamda, she now crosses the check record with a 2:79, which is very positive for her for the race 3, because she was able to do a couple of laps, if not 3 laps, under the 2.8, which is, I believe, very positive for the race 3 start of today, which is the last race of the day.
Yes, indeed. And talking about starting grids, who's going to be up there for race 2? I think we're going to have Abdulaziz Aboujanada, and then Laura Villas and Jabbar Al-Thani starting at the front of the grid. Fantastic for those young drivers to get a chance to see exactly what they can do at the front of the grid. But let's have a quick look back to Solomon Zanfari. He's coming across the final corner now. He's on his final push lap, but it looks like he's realized that he doesn't quite have the pace at the moment. Of course, it comes and goes. It depends on the track. It depends on the time of the day. Even everything can change. Even if a little bit more rubber down, it might suit your personal line just a little bit better. And you can see Solomon, of course, realizing that and coming into the pits to regroup and start to work on his strategy for the races. We're coming to you with the races in just an hour, 15 minutes time. We'll have the first race, and all 3 races will be held tonight, and it's going to be really an action-packed night, and I can't wait to see what these young drivers have in store for us. Starting at the front of the grid, we're going to have Andre, Kirill, Oscar. It's going to be a battle coming down into turn 1. Hamda and Federico as well. It's going to be something special, I think, Luca.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was amazing to see all the drivers doing an amazing job in practice and qualifying with no mistakes.
No mistakes. A beautiful, beautiful session. Let's have a quick run
Andrei Petrovic,
down to the pit
you
lane.
did it. You are in pole for the last weekend in Jeddah, and how does it feel? I mean, in the last race in Losa, you were really fast, really consistent all the way through the pre-practice and the testing, but then something didn't work out. This time you made it.
Yeah, finally I had the speed through all the practices, and same as in Qatar, but in Qatar I couldn't show it in qualifying. Now I'm very happy that I managed to put all of the good laps on the board and secure the pole for the race 1 and the race 3, so I'm very happy.
Well, I don't want to share too much with the other people that are going to fight with you during the race, but which will be your strategy for the race? You think you can pull away straight away, or here the talk can be really tricky and maybe it's better just play with it?
I'll try to pull away from the beginning, just as fast as possible, close to the walls, and we'll see what happens.
So good luck for the race. See you out there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Marcello, and thank you, Andre. A great drive in the qualifying session up to P1 on pole position, 2:07.434 for the Serbian in the red, number 49. What do you think, Luka? Did it go well? Well, let's have a quick run through the results. Now we have Andrej Petrovic on pole position, just ahead of Kirill Kutskov and Oscar Wirtz. It's going to be a fantastic battle into P1, into T1, ladies and gentlemen. And we've seen we've seen a lot of special things on track so far, but I think this is going to be extra special here under the lights at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. P4 is Hamza Al-Kabaisi and P5 is Federico Al-Rafai. A fantastic strategy there from Hamza to pip the top 4 spot and push Sagar Al-Masraj down into P6 ahead of Solomon Zanfari and Amna Al-Kabaisi, while Faisal Al-Kabani and Omar Al-Walid Al-Drani round out the top 10. Saud Al Saud in the green number 3 car is P11, a good showing for the young Saudi driver. He has some experience here at the Jeddah Corniche circuit, but it's his first time in a Formula car, so actually taking that all into consideration, I'm very impressed indeed. While Jabbar Al Thani finishes P12 ahead of Laura Villas and Abdulaziz Abu Zanada. Let's look for quick highlights of the qualifying now and see all of the action from the session. Down at the Jeddah Corniche circuit for the Invest Saudi Gulf Prix 27 to 28 March 2024 across Formula 4 Saudi Arabia, the Aramco sponsored championship. As you can see on the car are the red number 49 of Andrej Petrovic, who managed to pip the top spot here in qualifying with a 2:07.434 for the Serbian driver. Fantastic showing for him indeed. The light blue number 23 of Kirill Kutskov is next up, a 2:07.701. Kirill has had a bit of a tough time in qualifying the last few events, but he's put it all together now and is behind his main rival for the championship. P3 and P4, Oscar Wirtz and Hamza Al-Kabaisi, of course, showing us something as well here this weekend. The purple number 8 on screen at the moment, leading her sister around the track and really doing her team proud. Well, really, Luka, for me, that's the end of qualifying. It was a fantastic session. I'm glad everybody joined us, and I hope everybody comes back to watch the first race in just an hour or so's time.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be a fantastic show, so can't wait.
Okay, thank you very much, everybody. See you again very, very soon.